This is going to be an assembly and review of the Nautilus U614 exercise bike, which is one step below the U616 exercise bike, which was a minor upgrade. I've got it in the box now. This box is enormous, and I'm going to be assembling it up in my loft, so I'm going to be taking all the pieces out, putting them on the floor, and then showing you what comes in the box and how to put it together. So let's start. This is what you see when you open a box for the first time. Everything's packed in styrofoam. Looks like it's packed in fairly well. So let me unbox everything. This video is going to be an assembly video for the U614 Nautilus bike. I've got the main unit down on the floor. Let me show you the other parts that come in the package. Looks like we have a bottom piece with wheels. We also have a bottom piece with adjustable legs. We have this center piece, which appears to have a bracket with wires in it that the display will connect to. I am not sure where this part connects to yet, but we'll get to that as we assemble everything. There's a little bag, and in that bag is the key handle and an AC adapter, and I think this is a water bottle holder. We have, I don't know what this is, but we'll get to that as we assemble. There is a seat. There are two pedals, the left pedal and the right pedal, and I believe they are marked on the bottom with L and R. There are the straps for holding your feet in. There's an instruction manual. There's a 6mm Allen metric wrench if you have a socket set and you want to use that instead, or individual sets of Allen heads, that's fine. There is a screwdriver. You might want to use a real screwdriver. It's easier to hold than that handle. There are wrenches for adjusting the pedals, for tightening the pedals. There are four washers. There is a smaller washer. There are 5 lock washers over here. There are 4 bolts that this will be used to tighten these bolts, 2 to the front and 2 to the bottom legs. So let's start assembling everything. And I forgot to mention, but inside this box, I believe the whole display unit, the control panel is in here. So time to put everything together. You also need to be aware that some of these parts or items in the package already come with their hardware or screws waiting for you to use, so everything might not be in the package. What we're going to do is the wheels, this has the wheels on it. This is going to mount on the back of the bike over here, and the one with the legs is going to mount on the front. And you can see the screws that are in there. It can only go in one position, one way. So when you hold this thing over here, you can see the holes. This is the front. This has the handlebars are going to go in. So you will remove these 2 screws, place this thing underneath the front leg, and screw them in. You will see it in the instructions, and you can also see it's assembled here, but if you remove this and they fall off, you have the screw, then you have your lock washer with the little split in it, then you have your flat washer. So I think you can see what I did here. I just lifted up this part of the bike. This requires 2 people for assembly, but it really doesn't. Usually the hard part is connecting the wires, and or the wires over here, and that's where you need 2 people. But we should be okay with that. We won't need 2 people. And just to make a correction, the wires, this is the front. It's a little confusing. This is the front. This is going to have the wheels on the front, and that's where the display will go. And at the back, which raises up, you can see where the pedals are. That is the back. That's where the seat is, and your feet will go down here and turn the pedals. That is going to have the flat adjustable legs that I showed you. So time to put the screws into the holes and start assembling this. Insert the screw. Make sure it turns properly with your hand and your fingers before you use a wrench so you don't strip the threads. Then after you get the other side in, then you can use your wrench to tighten everything. You'll be using that 6mm wrench that came in the package. And you'll put your wrench head in there, and you will tighten everything down until it is secure, and then give it maybe 1 extra turn or quarter turn just to make sure that it's seated and it's tight. Okay, it's starting to tighten up. It's definitely starting to tighten up. Okay, so now it is tight, and you can see that it's tight, so I'll give it just an extra You don't want to go too far. You don't want to start crushing the metal. Okay, that is tight. Now you do that on the other side, and then you do the same thing on the front of the bike. You can see I am at the front of the bike now with the wheels, and it's the same process. Unscrew the two screws that are on here. Stick the leg underneath this piece over here. Insert your screws on in both of the holes, and then tighten it down like you did with the last bracket. Looking down from the front of the bike where the wires are down in there, you can see that I've got the front legs mounted with the two bolts over there. And we'll go over to the back of the bike. I've got the back legs mounted with the two bolts, and now it's on to the next step. We're going to be assembling this next. This goes on the top. There are wires that are in here. That's why you've got this tie holding the wires in. This is going to be going on the bike over here. Let me show you. This will, you look over there, you can see there are 4 little indentations over there. Those are going to mount into here on both sides. You're going to put this on. You see there are screw holes over here. There are 2 screw holes over here, and there's a screw hole over there. That is going to use the 4 screws that were in the package that I showed you, along with the 4 washers and the 4 lock washers. And we're going to be connecting, you see this wire over here? This wire is going to connect into the bottom of this. I think you can see it. There's a cable over there. It's going to connect into the cable, which is, as I showed you, tied in over here. Oops, so you're going to want to disconnect this, but make sure that the wire does not fall all the way through. It should push through. Okay, so let's get started and do that now. You're going to want to put this on here, facing in the proper direction, so that you'll be able to, the wider piece is facing towards the 2 openings over here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, this is where it really requires 2 people. You're going to pull the cable out from the bottom a little bit. You're going to plug it into this part over here, and you're probably going to have to remove this cable tie so you can get your screw into there, and you can also get this unit over this piece. So that's the 2-person part of the job. Or if you want, find a way to lay this handlebar across here somehow, plug this thing in, and then you'll start putting your 4 screws in there. And then that cover will go over to cover everything up. If you're watching this video and it's helping you, please go to my channel page and look for the support button, click on it, and maybe you want to donate something to help me out. And if not, do a thumbs up, a subscribe, a like, or whatever you want to do. Okay, so you can see what I've got here is the bracket. But since there's only one person, which is me, I used some tape on both sides. Yes, I know this is ingenious. I used some tape on both sides so that I can hold this thing in position while I connect these 2 connectors together. Incredibly smart, isn't it? And then after that, I will remove this little tie. You don't want to do that beforehand because you don't want the wire to go dropping down in there. And then I will remove the piece of tape, stand this unit up, put it over on top of here, and connect my 4 screws. There is a little notched out area on the connector. It will only plug in one position. Push the 2 pieces together until you hear it snap. Don't force it. You don't want to break it, but push the 2 pieces together. And then after that, you're going to remove this cable tie and start putting the screws in after you get this bar mounted over this. As you are doing this, you're going to want to push this into the hole and put this over, but make sure that you don't crush or pinch any of these wires as you are doing that. You can see that I'm using the tape that I just removed to hold this out of the way so that I can get down to the openings. You're probably going to have to lift this up just a little bit so that you can get your screws positioned in there. Try to get that, yeah, so you might have to lift that up or angle it so that you can get your 4 screws mounted. 2 screws over there and the other one over here. So remember, you're going to be doing the screws, the washers, and the lock washers. And then you're going to use the wrench to tighten everything up. I have the 4 bolts, the 4 washers, and the 4 lock washers. Remember, there are 5 of these. I don't know what the extra one goes to yet, but don't throw it away or lose it because we might need it. So take out 4 of the 5 that are in the package. And remember, you're going to take the bolt, the lock washer, the flat washer, and then you are going to insert it into these 4 holes on the handle. As you do this, use one hand to raise this up to position the holes, to align the holes, and then insert your screw with your fingers. Don't use a tool. These are finely threaded bolts. You can see right now it's not going in. Don't force it. What you need to do is raise this thing up, get everything aligned, slowly turn the screw in until it threads, and then you will use your wrench to tighten everything. This part took a while to do, to get all four of these lined up properly and to screw in. You can see how it looks though. You've got the screw, the lock washer, and the flat washer, and all four of them are tightened. This will go down next, but I'm going to keep this up here in case I run into problems, so I don't have to unsnap it from these four holes. So this will go down later. That didn't sound right, but this will go down, and this will slide down and snap in place when I am finished. If you want to snap yours in right now, that's fine. And you just push it down and it will lock in. It will snap into those four holes over there. We're going to be using the remaining B lock washer and the E washer and the T handle, and we're going to mount the handlebars to the main shaft or mast or whatever you call that. So get your T handle ready, put your lock washer on there, then put your washer on there. And then time to get the handlebars. The handlebars come with wires that are wrapped around this little piece, and you're going to want them out in the back. You've got to make sure you don't crush these things, and what you're going to do is you're going to put it into this bracket over here. This thing slides up. You're going to insert it into this bracket, and then you're going to put your T handle in there, and your T handle will tighten down. And I'm going to show you how that looks now. So you've got your handlebars with wires that wrap around this center piece over here, and those are going to get mounted onto the bike. It's going to go into this opening here, and then this will clamp down, and your T handle will screw into here and into the back. Make sure you don't pinch your wires as you are doing that. You can see how the bracket is held together. You want to position, and then you tighten your T handle. Make sure you don't strip the threads on the screw as you're going through the front of this hole into the back. Make sure you keep these wires out of the way so that you don't pinch them. If you do, you're going to have a hard time fixing this thing. And keep those out of the way, and you position your T handle. But the nice thing is that you will be able to reposition this later, so just lock it down and get ready for the next step. This part of the instructions is really bad. I had to read it numerous times to understand what's going on. You don't want to do what I did. I put the wires on and I ended up having them so they went over this bar. You cannot do that. You need to mount the handlebars with the wires under this bar, because the wires are going to go into a hole that is mounted underneath here, and you'll be pulling them with this white cable tie that's here. So it's very confusing. Terrible instructions explaining it, but I was able to figure it out. I'm going to take this bar off now, put the wires underneath this bar. I'll show you what that means in a minute. So what that means is the wires go below this bar, not above this bar like I had them originally. And then you're going to take these wires, and you see the bottom underneath the handlebars, this white cable tie. You're going to take that and wrap it around your wires. I'll show you. You can see how I wrapped it around. It's really not a tight fit. I'm just doing this for an example now, so you can see I might have to make it tighter. And then you're going to insert it into the hole over here. You want to penetrate, deep penetration with the connector. You can see it's already binding up. And let me see if I can pull on from the top over here. Let me see if I can pull that cable tie and try to make it come up. I'm going to have to stand up, so I won't be able to show you this on the camera, but that is what you're going to need to do, is pull this wire up. And you can already see it's going to disconnect. It's going to come loose. And this is the tricky part. So what's going to happen is the connector is going to go in through the bottom, and I don't know if you can see it coming in. You can see it down over there. That's the connector. And it's going to have to go into this shaft and all the way out the top. That's the tricky part. So let me see if I can pull this connector out and get some room here. I don't know. Get that connector out of there right now. So I've got more room to work on this. And we'll see what happens. Yeah, you can see as I'm pulling now, you can see the connector's starting to move. That's the tricky part, is getting it. You're going to want this connector to go straight through here, and once it goes through here, it will pull out of this hole. So I maneuvered the connector around a little bit in the hole, and it looks like it's starting to go into the shaft now. So let's go. I'm going to grab that thing at the top. This is not this easy to do, holding a camera and trying to do all this stuff that requires two hands. But there's the connector that needs to come out of the top. Good. We're almost there. We're almost finished. You can see that I've got the connector held over here so I don't lose it, so it doesn't drop down. I've got this connector out of the hole. You can see that I've got the two wires going from the handlebar into the hole over there. I didn't want them too tight. You want to leave some slack so you don't cut the wires in this rough hole over here. And everything goes up into the shaft and comes out of the top. Then you're going to be taking this cover, that's a handlebar cover. You can see there are two little pieces over here. Those are going to go into the holes on top of the handlebar, and this will be used to cover everything up. And that's why they call it a cover. It's going to go over the handlebars and it's going to snap into position. Or it should snap into position in those holes, which I'm going to have to do with two hands. So all you really need to do is place your hand over here and press down, and those two little pieces will snap into the holes. And now you got your handlebars mounted. Now we're going to continue on with the panel, I believe. In the cardboard box is the display panel. You're going to take that out of the box, take it out of the plastic bag, and remove the 4 screws that are already screwed in there. Since I'm not using a tripod, I'm not going to be able to show you this part, but we've got 2 connectors at the back. You can see how they're notched out. The mating connectors will only plug into this in one direction. Make sure that you are plugging them in properly. Insert it, wait until it snaps, don't force it, don't bend any pins. You'll be plugging in this connector over here and the one that you push through the handlebars, or from the handlebars. And then you're going to put the panel across here and screw in the 4 screws with the screwdriver that came with the unit. Now I'm trying to make this as good a video as I can. You can see the connectors are now plugged in, and I am supporting this with my hands with the plastic underneath so I don't scratch it up or damage it. And now I'm going to place it on the bracket over here, and I'm going to tighten the 4 screws from the back. You're going to take the wires and insert them into this channel. Make sure you don't crush anything or pinch anything or break anything or bend the wires over here. You're just going to slowly push everything down into there and seat it so that you can put your screws in. You can see the 4 screws are now tightened down. Again, make sure you don't pinch your wires as you're doing this. You'll want to push your wires down into the channel a little bit. Put your screws in by hand first to make sure that they do not cross strip or you don't mess up the threading on there. And then afterwards use that screwdriver that came with it and tighten them down. Don't tighten it too tight. Don't torque it down. You don't want to crack the plastic behind it. We have the seat post over here. You see where it says stop? You want to make sure you never raise this above the stop point. This is going to get inserted into the bike in that opening there. And you can see there's a little hole over there where the knob is going to screw through on this side into here, and it's going to fit into this part. Okay, so you're going to need, obviously, this part to be facing that opening, and this point, the point is going to be facing towards the front of the bicycle like this. So I'm going to be sliding this thing down, and remember I said where it says stop, the stop is over there. So you never want it to be above that point. So just get everything mounted right now and put the knob, here's the knob that came with it, put the knob in there, screw the knob in. So you're going to screw the knob in all the way until it stops. And then it's got this spring thing, and the spring thing, you're able to pull that out and raise or lower the the seat to the position you want. So we're almost done now. So we're almost done. I think all that is left is putting the seat on there, the water cup holder, and putting on the pedals and the pedal straps. Here's the bottom of the seat. It has nuts on both sides, and that's what you're going to be tightening down with the wrench that came with it. If you've got a better wrench that's easier to get in there, an adjustable wrench or a socket set with metric, then use that. It might be a little easier. Some people have complained that these seats are extremely uncomfortable and you're better off buying a gel seat. So if you can buy a gel seat, good for you. If you can't and you're comfortable with this bike seat, then use it and enjoy it. So I'm just going to take this thing. You don't need to watch me. I'm going to take this, put it on the shaft on that post that I just put on there. This shaft, and then I'm going to tighten the nuts on the side of the thing. Make sure that the seat is straight. And like I said, you're going to use the end socket part of the wrench that came with the unit, and you're going to tighten the nuts down on the seat. Again, make sure that the seat is straight so that you're able to ride it properly. I'm going to be putting the pedals on now. You can see the R on the bottom for the right. You can see the L on the bottom for the left. The right is going to go on the right side of the bike, and it's got clockwise threading, so you're going to be turning it to the right. You're going to be tightening the pedal to the right, and on the left one you're going to be putting it on the left side of the bike, and you're going to be turning it to the left, which is opposite of the way you normally insert a screw. So you're going to take these things, you're going to put them into the bike. Over there you can see how it says L and R, so you're going to match the L and the R. You're going to put it in. With this one you're going to be tightening it counterclockwise, tightening it to the left, and on the other side where the R is, you will tighten it to the right. That's very important, or else it's not going to thread on the left side and you're going to strip the threads over there. This is not going to be easy to do without a tripod, but I'm going to try to show you how. On the left side you want to put this in and turn it to the left. There, it finally clicked in on the thread. So the goal is to tighten this to the left, and then after you tighten it all the way down, you're going to use the wrench that came with this, and you're going to put it on the flat side over here, and you're going to tighten. You can see the flat side on both sides. You're going to tighten this in so that it's tight and secure, and then we'll be putting the straps on, which will go through here and clamp onto this little piece and hook onto this piece. And you can see how I've got the wrench on there now. You will be using the left side and the right side to tighten everything down. You can see that the left pedal is on and secure, and the right pedal is on and secure. So now it's time to put on the pedal straps. You can see that there is an L on the left strap. So what you want to do is position it this way, and you're going to hook either on the first or second notch onto this little knobby over there, and then you'll slide this other piece down, and that will go onto this knob, and depending on what size your foot is will decide which notch you're going to push that into. And you'll do that on both the left and the right one. On the right one you should have an R, just like you had an L on the left one. The last installation is going to be the water cup holder. You see the two holes on the back over there, two round holes. This is the center mast. There are two screws over there. You will mount the bracket with those two screws. Again, put them in by hand so you don't strip the threads. Don't tighten it too tight so that you crack the plastic of the bottle holder. And that is how you install and assemble everything on this bicycle. Now it's time to plug it in and see what happens. We have the AC adapter that is in the white box. It should be spelled A-D-A-P-T-E-R, not adaptor, but adapter. So obviously this was not from the USA. And we've got that, the power cord that we're going to plug into the bike. We're at the front of the bike. This is the handlebar unit. I'm going to push this thing down. Remember, I told you I was going to do that at the end. And I seated that. And down in the front over here is the jack for the AC adapter. So slowly we're going to penetrate and plug it in. And now this part will go and get plugged into the wall, the AC outlet. I just plugged everything in. It's making some weird noise. I don't know why. We've got August over there, so it's waiting for the date to be put in. And we've got our resistance settings. You should be able to read about all of this in the manual. I don't really need to show you that. That's just what this video was for, was assembly. And I just want to see if it's going to work. So I'm going to press quick start and see what we end up getting. And it's a starting workout. and it's on manual. And I'm going to press resistance now, and it's getting much harder to pedal. I'm going to press resistance again, and it's getting easier to pedal. And that is the assembly video for the Nautilus U614, and probably most of the other Nautilus bikes. I would assume the U616, which is the upgrade to this. I'm pedaling it. I like it. I tried it out in the store. I was very happy with it. The price is extremely reasonable. If you advance to another model which has fitness in it, you are probably going to be going from about $400, $450 up to about $1,000. So my review of this bike is I love it. For the price, I'm happy with it. Assembly probably took much longer because I had to record this for you. But assembly is not that hard. The tools that come with it are good. The hardware that comes with it is good. The bike is solid. It feels great. And that's my review. Again, hopefully this helped you. Do a thumbs up, a subscribe, a like. And if you want to help me out, again, go to the channel page, click on support, and maybe put a few $1 million in there to help me out. All right, thank you.